For the neutral fan of football, that Emre Can goal was amazing. For an FPL player, that's no one we own. What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of FPL Today in association with FPL Updates, your website for hints, tips and articles all dealing with FPL, and also the website home of FPL Today, where we take a look back at Game Week 35 and towards Game Week 36 and try and pick out the players that we should be putting into our side to get us those all important points. Today's FPL question of the day is, what chips do you still have to use, and are you using your wildcard this week? If so, let me know all the details in the comments down below. And also, if you love FPL Today and the JNO United channel in its newest FPL form, go and check out my Patreon page where you can support the channel and help it to continue to grow. So, my game week 35. 50 points, above the average of 46, but compared to the players around me, it just wasn't good enough. I've continued to drop since about game week 32, now looking at an overall rank of 31,636. Still top of the FPL Updates Writers League, but I'm dropping in the JNO Classic and in the FPL Updates Classic League, where you can win 400 quid for yourself if you come first. One of the top ranked FPL Classic Leagues in the game. I'm currently 782nd, so I'm nowhere near the top. My biggest mistake was my transfers were good. Kane and Maguire both got me decent points, but I went with Walker over Alonso because I felt Everton might score against Chelsea, and I was completely wrong about that. Alonso should have gone in, Walker didn't start. Perfect. Anyway, let's look at the Dream Team points. Dream Team points were 120 points. Jakupovic coming in with a penalty save to get some big points in goal. Cahill with a goal, also one of the biggest point scorers in defence. Joshua King is still making a mockery of his price tag, while Siggy, Pedro and even Emre Can with that quality goal reminded people what they are capable of. Aguero is up front, scoring consistently, and Negredo played a cruel joke on everyone that has transferred him out after that double game week, because he did nothing that double game week and now he's getting points. The star of the week, and I've got to give it to Jakupovic, when a goalkeeper at 4.1 million comes in with a point haul like he did by keeping a clean sheet and making that penalty save, being a real hero for Hull, you've got to be star of the week. We now move on to the FPL Hotlist, where we look at the last 4 game week stats and try and pick out the 3 players in each position that you need to be checking out, thinking about putting into your sides, because they could be having a very easy run of fixtures with some form. We're going to start off with the goalkeepers like we always do, and Fraser Forster is coming in at number 1, just above Peter Cech and Willy Caballero. Now, Fraser Forster and Peter Cech have double game weeks in game week 36, so that is why they're making the grade. Fraser Forster has more potential for save points. Now, if you have those save points on top of a clean sheet, that's where you're going to get more points, which is why Fraser Forster is coming in a higher position than Peter Cech. Fixture-wise, neither side have easy fixtures out of Arsenal and Southampton, but Fraser Forster, coming in at 5 million, has had 4 appearances, 2 clean sheets in the last 4 games, 7 goals conceded, total saves of 12, and his next fixture is Liverpool and Arsenal in the double game week. But that means there's going to be shots, so he could pick up those save points. Then he has Middlesbrough and Man United in game week 37. The Middlesbrough game is clean sheet friendly compared to the Man United one. And then they have Stoke at the end of the season. And you've got to think about game week 38, because we're all wildcarding now, but we still got that game week 38 to think about as well, where points can just go crazy. Moving on to defenders, and for a similar reason, there's a Southampton man at the top of this list, and it is Maya Yoshida, and then it's Nacho Monreal coming in as well in the second spot, with Marcos Alonso still keeping third. Marcos Alonso is a consistent point scorer as far as defenders go, and has the potential for clean sheets, which is why he makes the cut. But Maya Yoshida and Nacho Monreal both have double game weeks this game week and next game week. But Yoshida coming in top because of his 4.4 million price tag, 4 appearances, 2 clean sheets, again 7 goals conceded, like Fraser Forster, and the same fixtures. For 4.4 million, there's some point potential there. Moving on to the midfield, and Alexis Sanchez comes in at top, above Eden Hazard and Dele Alli. Now listen to me. I know Alexis Sanchez hasn't been performing like you'd expect him to be. He's not been doing as well as we all expect a player of his calibre to be doing. But part of that is because Arsenal aren't doing as well. But I dare anyone to not include him in your side for 2 double game weeks in a row with the type of player and explosive FPL player that Sanchez can be. Now, if we look at his stats from the last 4 game weeks, yes, they don't shout out top quality player. 4 appearances, 1 goal, 12 attempts, 5 of which have been on target, and has created 4 chances with a goal involvement of 33.3%. The fixtures, the next double game week looks decent, Stoke and Sunderland, so he could get some decent points in that one. But Man United Southampton doesn't shout out anything. But I dare anyone, like I said before, to not have a player of Sanchez's quality when they have 2 double game weeks in a row. A double game week. Does that make sense? And then we move on to the forwards, and guess what? There's no Arsenal player in this list, and the Southampton player comes in second, because I just feel like that Spurs side and Harry Kane are going to keep scoring for fun. So Harry Kane comes in at number 1 above Gabbiadini, and then Diego Costa, after his recent performances, coming in at 3rd. Now Chelsea and Spurs are just going to keep pushing for that title, so I think you're going to keep getting points from those 2 sides. Gabbiadini has got explosive capabilities. We've seen him score 4 goals in 3 games before, so if he does that again, any point in these last 3 game weeks, you could be getting points. Harry Kane comes in at 11.6 million with 2 goals, 2 assists, 19 attempts on goal, 10 on target, minute per chance of 16.1%, shot accuracy of 52.6%, and a goal conversion of 10.5. With West Ham, Man United, Leicester and Hull left, there's definitely potential for points there. But I will say before this hot list finishes, looking at all these players that I'm looking at, they are pretty standard players to be bringing in right now. They are the ones the stats suggest you should go for, as well as trying to take advantage of the double game week. But if you're right near the top of the rankings, you may want to be looking for a few differentials. And that may give me an idea for a show. Just maybe. So that wraps up the hot list. Is there anyone that I've missed and that you are keeping an eye on for the next coming game weeks? Let me know in the comments down below. They may even feature in an up and coming video. Just maybe. Okay, so now we look towards game week 36 and the fixtures, and we are starting off on Friday. Remember, Friday is the first game of this game week, so make sure you have your teams locked in before the kickoff on Friday night. West Ham versus Spurs. Now let's be real here, Spurs have looked outstanding recently and are chasing Chelsea for that title, when we all thought Chelsea probably would have had it wrapped up by now. West Ham do still have relegation looming, still have something to fight for, and defensively they have improved recently, but does anyone actually see West Ham getting a win here? I like West Ham, I follow West Ham, my wife supports West Ham. I'd love to say West Ham will win this game, but as an FPL pundit, I'm not going to say that to you. Spurs assets are hot right now, so if you don't have 2 or 3, you may want to consider your team. We then have Man City versus Crystal Palace, and apart from Benteke recently, the Palace assets have been letting us down. They showed a lot of promise before that double game week that they had, and then they really let everyone down. I'm not sure Palace are worth looking at anymore, to be honest. Man City are desperate to try and keep a Champions League place, with a lot of players that are capable of scoring a lot of points. Aguero may have a knock, may not play in the next game week. Jesus, I think, is also potentially a risk, but Gabriel Jesus might be a nice choice, and he frees up some money. Hull City versus Sunderland, and who would have thought that I'd be coming to this point in the season saying Hull players could be the difference in your FPL season. Hull are seriously fighting for survival. They've impressed me recently, could be staying in the Premier League. Have a look at their defence and goalkeeper. They got points last week, and maybe even try and figure out where the goals are going to come from in this side, and you could be rising up the rankings. We then have Swansea versus Everton. Now, Everton are really expected to give Chelsea a better game. I'm not sure Everton have anything left to play for anymore. I think Lukaku is also dreaming about a transfer. But Swansea are fighting to survive. Siggy is always capable of points, as you saw in the Man United game. A lot of people would have got rid of him now, but maybe you should now consider him as a differential if everyone is moving him out of their sides. Because Sigurdsson is always capable of assists and goals and could be the difference in your season. We then move on to one of the teams with a double game week, and it's Liverpool versus Southampton. The first team with a double game week. Southampton have Arsenal after this. And while their points may be hard to come by for this Southampton side and for their defence, there are plenty of save points possible for Forster, and the fixtures could garner points for these defenders and goalkeepers with bonus points and save points. And most managers will be remembering Gabbiadini introducing himself to the FPL scene recently and the way he scored 4 goals in 3 games. Liverpool have some assets there as well. Coutinho did get subbed off last game though, so Lallana came in. There could be a shuffle there, but when Liverpool have some players out, it's easier to predict their lineup. So Liverpool still chasing Champions League spaces. Maybe Liverpool player could make the difference in your season despite them not having a double game week. Southampton's next game would be against Arsenal on the Wednesday, and with it being a home tie, I'd say more likely to be a clean sheet, especially with Arsenal not being as good attackingly as they usually are. Monreal coming into this game is also looking decent and could get you some clean sheets and some points with an assist or 2. And of course there's Sanchez, who everyone will own, so it's probably better that you own him as well. Moving back to Arsenal's game against Man United on Sunday. Big game, especially for Man United. They need to keep scoring points and getting up that table to keep their Champions League space. Man United have got 4 clean sheets out of the last 5. Eric Bailly looks like a great pickup if you've already had him for a while. Other than Bailly, it's hard to pick who is nailed on in that side apart from maybe De Gea. But a lot of people will be hoping Sanchez goes goal crazy in this one. But overall, this isn't the easiest double game week to navigate. We then have Chelsea versus Middlesbrough, and let's be real here, does anyone see Middlesbrough managing to stop Chelsea? I know Middlesbrough are fighting for survival, but this is Chelsea. I know they have slipped up occasionally before, but I can't see it happening here. Hazard, Costa, Willian, Pedro, Fabregas, Matic, the points could come from anywhere in this team. So it's hard to figure out who the points are more likely to come from, but you do need Chelsea players in your side, I think. And now we move on to the end of the show where we look at the captain poll, my captain choice, the differential of the game week and the red herring. Starting off with the captain poll, and Alexis Sanchez is coming top. That's not a surprise when he has a double game week. Harry Kane coming in at second and Eden Hazard coming in at third. Harry Kane and Hazard have both been playing very well in teams that are playing very well. Sanchez is just his pedigree, because Arsenal aren't performing that greatly and neither is Sanchez, but the pedigree he has and the explosive potential he has in 2 games in a game week is a bit hard to ignore, and that is why he is my captain choice. But I'd like to put an asterisk on it and just say, think about your game, where you are currently in your classic league or in the overall game, because if you are desperate to jump up the rankings, maybe you want to look elsewhere for a captain, because if Sanchez blanks in both games and you pick a captain that gets a lot of points, you could shoot up those rankings. Whereas if you're trying to keep your spot and don't want to receive too much damage if Sanchez does do amazingly well, then maybe he should be your captain choice. But coming to the end of the season, maybe this is where you make those daredevil moves. Alexis Sanchez comes in at 11.5 million, and I've put all of his stats for the whole season up purely to demonstrate how explosive he can be. Out of 31 starts, he's got 19 goals. He's also got 9 assists with 74 chances created, 110 attempts on goal, and 43 of those being on target. That is why people are picking him for this game week. The differential of the week, and I have a feeling this could change, but right now when I'm recording this, his ownership is at 3.1%, Gabriel Jesus. At 8.7 million, for the whole season he's only had 4 starts and 6 appearances, but in those games he's had 4 goals, 1 assist, a goal involvement of 62.5%, 13 attempts in total with 6 on target, and it seems like Guardiola likes him, basing that off that period where Guardiola benched Aguero to play Jesus before he got that injury. So potentially he could be a massive fixture in these last game weeks. And then finally, the red herring before we end the show, it's still rotation. I've been burned by Kyle Walker and Antonio Valencia for far too long. Make sure you pick players that are nailed on. I thought they'd be nailed on, they clearly haven't been. But please make sure you keep an eye on that rotation risk, especially with so many fixtures coming up. You watch Sanchez get rotated this game week. Anyway guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the show as always. If you've enjoyed the episode, please make sure to hit that like button. It helps the channel out so much. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new here, doing FPL videos every game week. I've been JNO, you guys have been awesome, and remember, it's all about the game.